Hello, my name is Eric Poff, and I'm with Personal Finance Lab. I want to thank you all for joining me today to discover more about Personal Finance Lab. Today, we're going to explore some of the interactive games, lessons, activities, and some of the things we've designed to help students learn financial literacy. First things first, let's lead off with the most basic question. What is Personal Finance Lab? So it is an engaging and customizable financial literacy platform used in a variety of classes, ranging from dedicated personal finance courses to business, to economics, social studies, family consumer sciences, and so on. We provide an interactive and gamified learning platform aimed at teaching your students life skills, things such as balancing a budget, building a diverse portfolio, and how to make smart financial decisions. The Personal Finance Lab platform is designed for K-12 students so they can learn and make mistakes without losing any of their real money. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. First things first, we're at our personalfinancelab.com website. We're going to log in at the top right corner. From here, you're going to have a couple options for logging in. You're going to have your username and password, more traditional style login. You can also log in with Google or with your Clever information. So we're just going to go ahead and log in here. Upon logging in as an admin, you're going to have two different kind of views that you're going to be able to see. One is going to be your instructor dashboard, and one is going to be your student view. For the purposes of this webinar, we're going to start with the student view, just so I can kind of walk you through what the students are going to be seeing. So this is what your students will see upon logging in. We're going to walk through some of these widgets and kind of describe what they're going to see at a high level. In their top left corner over here is going to be the My Assignment widget. This is going to show them all of the assignments that have been assigned to them by you. And it's very, very quick and very user-friendly right here. So you're able to see how much time they have left to complete. They have also the ability to click on any of the assigned assignments right here, just by clicking that view button, completing the lesson with the corresponding quiz at the end. Next up is the My Portfolio. This is going to show you kind of a high level of what securities are inside of their portfolio and how they are doing. Also, will show their class rank depending on how they are doing there. If they want to go directly into their portfolio, they can click the view button and start trading. Similarly, you have the budget game widget right here, which is going to show you their overall game score, as well as how much time they have left on the budget game, as well as their ranking within the class, their net worth, their savings and checking balance, their outstanding bills, and their quality of life. Down here, we have announcements, and so this is going to be anything that you'd like to say to your class. It's going to be don't forget the test on Friday, don't let the dog eat your homework, that sort of stuff. You're going to have your My Achievements section right here, which is for your badges. Badges are earned and unlocked based on different factors throughout the game. As you complete lessons, as you hit certain milestones, you'll be awarded these badges, which you can turn on and off as an administrator when you're setting up the class. But this gives the students the option to display this to other students in the class. Similarly to most trading platforms and trading simulations, you'll have a watch list that your students will be able to add stocks into so they can keep an eye on. They also have a latest news area right here, which will have up-to-date articles and certain interesting information that your students might help with their investing. Right here, we also have our recent orders from the stock game. So anything that they've recently purchased, they can see there, and then any transactions that has happened on the budget game. So from here, we're going to go through kind of our dashboard up top. We're going to go through each one of these in the drop down just so you can kind of see what we have. We have on the main part of the dashboard right here in My Profile, the Edit Profile button right here is going to be where you would change things like your password. Your achievements are going to be where you're going to be able to see your badges, and then you can join a new session here. If you have selected for the forum to be on for your class, then this would be where your students would be able to go and chat with each other about things related to the class. You can also send messages to the entire class here. On the stock game drop down, you have your My Portfolio area here, which gives you a full portfolio summary, as well as some of the trade notes for some of your recent purchases, and then all of your open and closed positions and your transaction history, and then of course your My Rankings to see how you're doing inside the classroom. You have the Make a Trade area right here. So this is going to be where you have enabled certain types of securities to be traded. You're going to see them all here. So if you'd like to have like cryptos and things like that as well, it would just drop down right below these trade bonds here. But you would just select it and go into trading from that point. To help your students with the portfolio or with their trading, you have multiple different tutorials. You have your manage your portfolio, your trading stocks, trading bonds, mutual funds, and then the types of order types. These are all very awesome tutorials and are great help for your students. Next up, we have our investing research dropdown, we have a variety of different kinds of investing research tools. Probably the most popular is going to be the symbol lookup, just because students at this age especially know what they want to, or know what students they would, or which companies they would like to invest in, but don't necessarily know their ticker symbols. So this would be a great place for them to start. We have other things like the SEC filings, financial statements, analyst ratings, which are also very, very important and very popular for our research tools. You also have your mutual funds and ETF research over here to the right. And then probably one of the most important tutorials for the stock game is going to be using our research tools, just to make sure that your students have the knowledge to be able to use every tool at their disposal. Up here, we have another piece called the trading ideas, which is an awesome little tool. For if you just don't really know where to start, you can click that and it will generate a kind of random stock that is popular across the Stock-Trak family of sites. Next up, we have our drop down for the budget game, which you can quickly go into. You have your option to play the budget game. You can see your game rankings here. If you have the My Apartment enabled, you have that option to go into it from here as well. You have the ability to see any of your statements from the total summary, your checking account statements, savings, and your credit cards. Also, just like the stock game, we have multiple different tutorials for the budget game here that are very helpful in understanding the way to go about using the budget game. Next up, we have our learning, which is where you can see your current and your expired assignments, as well as additional information on each of these topics right here from our blog. These two additional drop downs right here are going to be exclusive to an admin account. The others will not be seen on a student view. But on the administration tab, you have your create a challenge, which is how you will start and create your new classes, edit existing budget games, edit your portfolio simulations, and then post a direct message to them. You have your ability to create new assignments and view the assignments you've already assigned, as well as edit any assignment. You obviously have guides and tutorials, just like we have for the budget and stock game, but for admin specifically right here. Some really awesome tools here for like our 9-week and 18-week outlines to kind of help you build your class. We have your password resets right here. If you've enabled teams within your class, you can manage them here. If you've purchased widgets, you can manage which widgets you would like to see at this section and your integration here. Finally, on this dashboard, we have the reports tab. You have your assignment reports, your summary reports. This is going to be very important over here, so you can see which your link is to give to your students to be able to register for your class. You have your reports specific to the budget game here, your portfolio reports here, any assignment reports that you need to generate for grading purposes, you can do here. And then if you need a different kind of report, you can create your own custom report in this section right here. So from here, we're going to go ahead and set up a challenge just so you can kind of see how it works. And then we will move into the budget game and then making a trade. So first things first, we're going to create a challenge. Session name is just going to be what you want your students to be able to see. So we are going to do discovering Personal Finance Lab. This just gives you the ability right here in the description option to describe a little more in depth what this session name would be. You have your start and your end date right here, which is how long you want the tournament or the challenge to go for. You can give it a hard stop. You can change that at any point, but if you reach the end date, your accounts will become basically inactive, but not the full account, just that current challenge. So if you would need that to be extended, you would need to contact your support or your account manager. If you have purchased the budget game and the stock game, you'll have these options to turn them on or off. For this purpose, we're going to keep them both on so we can go through creating both. We also have a really cool option for just an express setup, which is just a default setting for all of our normal defaults. It makes it very quick to set up your current classes. But if you want to go in and kind of toggle some of the options and see what we have to offer and to customize your class, this is how you do it. You just hit custom, and then you go into here. You have your option for your contest to be public or private. You will still have a registration link. The only difference here is that we're going to require there to be a password to be able to log in and register for your class. You have the ability here to change the registration start and end date. So if you only want your students to be able to register for a window of a week or so, this would be where you would do that. You can obviously extend that as well if need be. Down here, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have your time zone. You can adjust to wherever you are. Here's where you enable your forum for your students to be able to speak to each other and chat. You have the option here to display your badges. I don't know why you would necessarily not want to see it. It's a cool little achievement, but some people may not like that in their class. Here you also have the ability to choose certifications that your students can earn based upon their ability and their progress through the platform and the courses. You have your option here for your pre and post test, which I think is a very important tool to be able to gauge where the students come in at and their knowledge of the financial literacy versus how they finish. So we are going to move forward with this. We're going to include the budget game. We can include the apartment as well. We're going to customize our settings. Same thing as the stock game here. We're going to same thing as the tournament creation here. You have your start and your end date, how much time you would like the game to be played. This is our default setting. Anything you see here will be our default setting throughout. If you'd like to extend it, you can, or if you would like to shorten it, you can as well. Basically, there's two different modes of the budget game. One is going to be a student with a part-time job that transitions into a full-time worker. And this is how you adjust how much time you would like them to spend in each one of those roles. So you can also change if you want them to start out with a student, the part-time job, or just start out as a full-time worker and with a transition or not. You can change their speed limit so they don't go too fast. To put it in perspective, about 20 minutes of the budget game will get you through a month. So starting on your checking balance, you have the ability to change how much that money they start with. Totally up to you. We do think that this is best suited to have this start at 0 for your savings balance, because one of the main goals is to create an emergency fund for yourself, and having it already built for you kind of defeats some of the spirit of it all, if you will. This is where you can create the part-time and the full-time wages. Some of the things we'll get into it a little bit further down, like right here, a really good tool for your students is also like a project for them to do, is to kind of figure out what the going rate is in your area for your hourly wages, part-time gigs, as far as full-time, kind of your basic salary, and maybe kind of be able to change some of this information here based upon that. Same thing with your tax, with your income tax, whatever your tax rate is in your local area, change it to that so it's most realistic. All of that is same for down here. You have your monthly rent, your phone bill, internet, energy. So if you can kind of have, assign your students to figure out an average in your area for what the things that these cost, this makes it much more applicable to their lives. You also have the ability to have them pay off student loans as they transition into the full-time, or health insurance as well. Once we get down to this part, you have different options for life events that can happen throughout the budget game. By clicking these will be the ones that you would like to see most often. If you don't click any of them, it will just be a random assortment of all of these topics. And based upon everything that you have done above, you're going to be able to see what their income is going to look like, what their expenses should variably look like throughout the month as well. So we'll go on to the next and create our stock game. Same thing, we have our trading start and our end date, with a lot of customizable options for the stock game down here. You have your portfolio currency, which you can change. Obviously, for most in the United States, we generally trade with the US dollar. If you would like to change your initial cash balance, this is our default setting for 100,000. But if you would like, you can do as little or as go crazy and go up to 100 million if you'd like. We generally see the most engagement with these lower options, just because you have the ability to do the weekly deposits as well, to kind of be able to teach them what it would look like to kind of balance their portfolio from week to week. So you could make a weekly deposit of, say $1,000 or $500, even $100 if you'd like to see smaller purchases. You have the ability here to to change the minimum stock price for buying and shorting. This basically limits the student's ability to buy into penny stocks and to be involved in less volatile stocks as well. You can change your interest earned on cash, as well as the interest charged on loan. You can allow buying on margin, short selling, day trading, however many trades per account for the time that you set. You can limit the number of trades per day if you would like. One thing that I do see a lot of teachers have success with is limiting the number of trades per day and requiring trade notes. Trade notes are an awesome tactic, I think, to have your students to be able to really slow down and understand why they're making certain decisions and why they think that for the future growth of each security that they're choosing is a good option for them. You have the ability here to make all portfolios public. This is something that we generally kind of say don't do, just because you don't want to show all of the securities that every student has purchased. So the person in the first place is kind of giving away all of their secrets. You don't want the person in last place to be able to kind of essentially cheat off of that. But if you want to enable that for any reason, you can. You can also have your admin account appear in the rankings. This is something we generally say you want to do because it really increases the engagement. If a student can beat the teacher, if you will, they love it, and they love the opportunity to do so at any given rate. So we have the other three options here, which are definitely more suited for more advanced investing classes. We have a few more of our trade settings here. We have our different security types. You can select your stocks, your ETFs, cryptos if you'd like. You can enable that there. Per share contract, percentage of trades for your commissions. You can set their commissions that you would like. If you'd like them to trade options, you can enable that here. Mutual funds, bonds, futures, future options, Forex, cash spots, and then down to our exchanges. If you'd like for them to be able to trade on any other exchange other than the United States, you can select it here very easily. You can just select all if you want every one of them to be available, or select each individual one that you would like. Moving on to our assignments. This is where you would label your assignment here, as well as your start and end date. Generally, we like to say that we see our teachers have most success in doing this week to week. So if you are interested, you can do 5 or so throughout a week. Give them something to do. Each of these will have either an article or a video with a short quiz at the end to gauge how well they're understanding the concepts. You also have the ability to reward your students for any actions or any of the assignments completion in the stock and budget game here. So once they have completed all of the assignments, you can assign a value to it, and they get that in their account. Some of the lessons that we have include some of our, our stock game for beginners. If your class is brand new to investing and investments, this is an awesome place to start. We have multiple different things like what is a stock, ticker symbol, order types, just your very basic kind of knowledge of it to kind of help them get started. You also have the ability up here to allow them to retry if they're not getting a great handle on the assignment that was assigned to them. You have your ability down here in your intermediate lessons to go into things like what is an ETF, a mutual fund, how to trade mutual funds, bonds, trading, what's a brokerage, things like that. A little more kind of intermediate level knowledge of the stock market. We have some more basic information here for your elementary and middle school lessons, lots of videos and quizzes. Our personal finance lessons, which are kind of broken up into units. So we have our budgeting and saving, as well as our managing credit, income taxes. On all of these will be really awesome articles and activities for them. Risk and financial decisions goes into our economic lessons. Why is there scarcity? What is supply and demand? Property rights and so forth. You have different assignments for accounting, management, and marketing. All of these you're able to go through and check out, see what is best applied for your class. Down here we have our spreadsheets and mathematics and things like that. So as your students progress through the stock game, they're going to have a lot of information and a lot of opportunities to collect data and be able to put these into these spreadsheets so they can get comfortable there as well. Down here, we have our Investing 101 course, which is broken up into 10 different chapters. Each of them has, just like our above, as you go through the chapter, there will be pop quizzes and different ways to kind of grade their metrics throughout. You have your assessments down here. You have your financial literacy pre-test and post-test that you can assign, as well as customizing some of the actions that you would require within your game. So if you would like for them to study X amount of times, or complete a full month, you can do that here very easily. You also have the same sort of things for investing actions, things like buying and selling stocks X amount of times, however many trades you want total, and shorting a stock, things like that. So once you have created all of these, you will make sure you've selected some of the things that you would like to be included. We're going to just go ahead and add a couple of these here. And then we're going to go down to the bottom. If you also would like to create and come back to this later, you do not have to assign anything to create a class. You can just skip this step right here and move on to the next step. So once you've selected which assignments you would like to assign your students, you come down to the bottom and just hit create. So as it has created, you will have a couple different options of sharing this link with your students. You have the ability to share it directly from right here. You can post the link directly to your Google Classroom using that button right there, or you can generate the accounts and distribute it yourself to your students within your own classroom using this link right here. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and jump into the budget game really quickly. From here, you're going to start. This is where everyone will start when they go into the budget game to play. You just hit the play game, and this will start them with a few options at the beginning of the budget game. They will have to pick some of their fixed expenses, things like their rent, their cell phone, energy, or their TV and internet, and their types of diet they would like to have, how much money they'd like to spend on their food. So we're gonna make our options here, make our choices. Go through and see how we are doing. So at the beginning of every budget, as soon as I hit this dice down here to progress into the budget game, there will be an option for you to do your budget for your revenue, as well as your fixed expenses and any variable expenses as well, and then your savings goals. So we're going to hit the click to play, and this builds our budget right here. As you can see, it'll break down kind of the pay structure of what we've set up as the admin. This is what the students will be seeing. So this makes them calculate their revenue based on a 4-week right here. It also has this handy little calculator right here on the bottom corner. And we can go. Very happy my math skills worked on that. So as we go through our current liabilities, our fixed expenses, our variable expenses, and then our total down here. Now we will need to estimate how much we're going to want to spend on any additional expenses. We're going to put in a little extra money for incidental stuff, go forward, and then we are going to try to get ourselves a budget for our savings balance. So we're going to try for a little lofty goal, put $300 in our savings account this month. So automatically issue you your bills at certain points throughout the month. You see rent just came up and your cell phone bill just came up, and it is still moving forward. Now we do have these cards, which help your students manage their debit and their credit. This is going to give them an option to do various different things, whether it's like buying a broken lamp to going to a concert, things like that. But they're going to have to manage how they spend their money and what they put it on, whether it's their credit or their debit card. So we will go through here. We're going to go ahead. Our rent has been issued, so it's time for us to pay our rent. We have it in our checking account, so we are going to pay it. We also have the option to pay some now and some later. And we will continue on. We've driven over a nail. We have to take it in to get it repaired. How would we like to pay for it? We're going to put it on our credit card, and we are going to move forward. Our car insurance has now been issued and ready for us to pay. We just got paid as well, since it is a Friday, and that has been directly deposited into our checking account. Coming up to every single weekend, you'll have an option to do one of 4 things. The work extra hours option is pretty self-explanatory. It gives you the ability to make more money to help pay your bills. You have the option to socialize, which generally will come at a cost of some sort to your student, but they will get a better quality of life score for this right here. Your household chores are probably the least selected option of the 4, but it does need some attention, because if you neglect your house, things like a pest problem or maintenance issues will come about that will require them to pay for it, and for an unexpected expense for sure. Study option is also a great option for them. It will have a great impact in their end game of the budget game, because it will depend on even so much as how much money they make, and it also keep them from having to pay for tutors while they are going through school. Hitting the work extra hours also enables a mini game option for the students. That's pretty fun. So we're going to progress through. We got a work break, so we got a little $10 bonus there. And as we progress, we should end up with our first lesson after we handle our parking ticket. Silly of us. And we will go here. So here's our first main lesson that will kind of hit some of the core concepts that are directly in the game without having to have separate lessons. Each lesson will start like this, and we'll finish with a quiz of varying lengths. So this one is directly about managing your debit and your credit cards. You'll be able to kind of go through. It starts with your debit, and it describes kind of your checking balance and what that is and how it's connected, all the way into your credit card, and the limits and things like that. It'll go into a little bit of debt and interest. And then finally, you'll finish with a quiz. This first lesson is pretty short. And it's just one question here. What day of the month of your credit card statement will be issued? For us, it is the 9th, and we will submit and go forward. Most of the times after your lesson, you will get some sort of money back, whether it's $25 or $10, things like that. So now we've made it through a week and you've kind of got to see how the budget game kind of progresses. I'd like to take us over to the stock game and make our first trade. So to do that, remember, just come over here, make a trade, and go into your stocks. Remember again, if you are interested in a certain security and you do not know their stock symbol, you can go into the investing research over here, go to your symbol lookup. So let's say our students are interested in something like Spotify. It pops up down here in the drop down and they're able to see all sorts of information. Today it's trading down a little bit. You can go back in time or as far as 5 years. You have financial statements, your price history, and really awesome one for I think a lot of the students is this this analyst rating as well, all of which you can see here. We're going to go back into our stocks, and we are going to go back to our symbol. We want to trade Spotify. And here is this. Now, if you know your ticker symbol, you can see some of those same research tools right down below. You have, anything company news related will be generated here. Your analyst ratings are here as well as price histories, financial statements with the SEC, and then your detailed quotes here. So if we're ready to progress and purchase here, this also gives your students the ability to have some exposure to different types of orders. You have your trailing stops, your stop orders, limit orders, and market orders. We're going to make a market order for, let's say, 5 Spotify. Now, this is where your trade notes will come about, this right here. If you have it enabled to where they have to have trade notes, this is where they will have to slow down and write why they think that this is a good investment. So for your review and for theirs in the future. Without putting anything in this box, it will not allow the purchase to go through. So here is that. There's our trade note. Market buy for 5 shares. Since the market. So it is being taken care of. We go back to our portfolio summary and we see that we have made our purchase here and our portfolio value is here. So here, I'm going to go back to our dashboard and I will I want to say thank you again for joining me today for our Discover Personal Finance Lab webinar. I want to open it up for some questions if you have any. And please don't hesitate to reach out to our staff via chat on our website or email or even a phone call. We're always here to help, and we look forward to speaking with you. Hope you have a great day if you don't have any questions. And we look forward to gamifying your classroom.